Hi everyone, welcome to It's Tea Time, and it's time to spill the tea. Thank you for coming to visit me here on my YouTube channel called It's Tea Time. And I also just created a Patreon page called also It's Tea Time. So you will be able to catch my videos here on YouTube, or you can go to Patreon, and Patreon is for those who want to financially support me. You like my videos, you want to support, more videos to be made. So that can be on my Patreon page, and the name of my page is also It's Tea Time. So it should be pretty easy to find. But I shared with you before that on this Patreon page, on my YouTube channel, I have a series called The Phoenix Chronicles, which is videos where I talk to people and I ask them to share their stories of how they went through a challenge or challenges in their lives and how they were able to overcome it, hoping that it will motivate you or inspire you, or just to let you know that you're not alone, and it's good to see how others have been able to rise from the ashes. And then another series that I want to put out there, I don't exactly have a name for it yet, but it's a series where I will educate you on the different types of healing modalities that are out there that are not exactly what we call normal. In our world, everybody knows about going to like a psychotherapist or a psychologist, when you have issues and you need somebody to talk to. Or like some people go to an acupuncturist, and what an acupuncture does is they use meridians and it helps to move energy in your body, and it's for health. They help with like physical ailments but also emotional ailments. A lot of people are even aware of Reiki, which is a form of energy healing. So these are modalities that a lot of people know about. Even doctors are healers too, and that's considered to be quote unquote normal. But then there's so many types of healing modalities out there that people actually don't know about. And so I often get asked the question about my intuition. So for those of you who don't know, I do consider myself to be very intuitive. I don't like to use the word psychic for some reason, but I do know that I'm highly intuitive. And so oftentimes people have so many questions about intuition, like how do you know you have it? How do you know when you're getting messages? And so, generally like my basic answer is, for those of us who are intuitives or who have these gifts of intuition, we're like superheroes. We all have different gifts. It all comes to us in different ways. So today what I want to talk about is kind of like the 5 major ways of intuition. So I want to go through this with you because I actually find it to be really interesting, because I have a lot of friends who are healers, who are therapists, and all of us have very different gifts. And a lot of times people will look at these gifts and think that they're like totally, woo woo and crazy or whatever. But actually, as humans, we all have, intuitive gifts. And, if we want to, we can definitely tap into these intuitive gifts. And, but it's true that a lot of us healers, this is part of our life's mission, to be here and to help people to heal in some sort of way. So, for most of us, maybe it has come more naturally, but I even know people who have gone to school to, hone in on their intuition and to grow their intuition. So, it's not like you wake up, or for some people it is, you wake up and you're intuitive. Some people, they're kind of like, you know what, I know that like I have the capacity to become more intuitive, so I'm just going to study it and become more intuitive. So I really want to go through like the 5 different types of intuition. And so the very first one I want to talk about is called clairvoyance. And what clairvoyance means, it means clear seeing. And so for people who have these gifts, these are people who can see things. These are people who have visions. Like these are people who are very visual. So yeah, on the woo-woo scale, it's like people who can see spirits, people who can see ghosts. But also, like sometimes for me personally, back when I used to do a lot of energy healing on people, I would get visions. And sometimes even when I meditate, all of a sudden I see like visuals. That's what I mean by visions. Like you see, it's almost like a movie in your head or in your mind. So it pretty much is like you're seeing something. And that is clairvoyance. The second one I want to talk about is called clairaudience, which means clear hearing. And so what this means is generally you can hear stuff. And once again, if we're going on the woo-woo scale of things, a lot of times people can hear spirit. They can hear, people who have passed on. But like also for me, once again, when I'm like meditating, and I'm using myself as an example, I'm trying to be like, ooh, look at me, I'm so cool. That's not the point. The point is I'm just trying to use myself as an example to give you an example. When I'm meditating, I tend to hear a voice. I know it's not my voice though. So that is another form of clairaudience. When you're hearing words, you're hearing sounds. Some people can even hear music. But clairaudience generally just means that you're hearing something. And for most people, they say they hear a voice. They may or may not know who the voice belongs to, but usually they hear a voice of some sort, or yeah, they hear words. And a lot of times when I talk about this intuition, because people will often ask me, well, how do you know? And I'll just say, I don't know. I just know that I hear words. All of a sudden I'll see an image. Or sometimes I even see the word. So that's a sign of both clairvoyance and clairaudience, seeing the word, but also hearing it. So that's an example. The third one I want to talk about is clairsentience. It means clear feeling. And these are for people who are like major empaths. It's like where you can feel other people's emotions, you can feel other people's pain. On the woo-woo scale, it's like you can feel spirit around you, you can feel what they're feeling. So it's definitely like a feeling, like you can feel feelings, you can feel emotions, you can feel pain. And a lot of times people who have this, I guess the most common way of saying it is like, oh, it's a gut feeling. I have a gut feeling about something. That is a form of clairsentience. The next one is clairalience. So this is smelling. Now I know this may seem a little bit weird, like how can that be intuitive? But for instance, those people, or sometimes you might even smell and you don't even know that you're being intuitive. But oftentimes, like if people have passed on, they will emit like a certain smell. And usually it happens to people where they know immediately that it's a sign of like a loved one. So an example is like, say you had a grandma who loved to wear like rose perfume, and all of a sudden you smell rose perfume. And you're in a room where there's no roses or anything like that, but all of a sudden you smell rose perfume. And that is a type of intuition called clairalience, where you are actually smelling something that you can't explain. Another one is clairgustance. I actually don't know this one so well, but it means clear tasting, like or in Italian you say gusto. So clear. I wanted to call it clairgustance, but I'm guessing it's clairgustance in English. But it means clear tasting. So also what I've heard from people who are more in touch with like the spirit world, that all of a sudden they'll taste something, like they'll know that they're in the presence of a spirit, because all of a sudden they, like something, like a taste changes in their mouth, like all of a sudden they'll get like a metallic taste in their mouth or something like that. And then the last one is called claircognizance, which is just clear knowing. And I feel like a lot of people actually have this. So what it means, it's like you just have a deep knowing of something, like you just know it, and you don't even know how you know it, but you just know it. Another thing that happens for people who are claircognizant is they have premonitions. They have premonitions of some form. So like say, you have a dream and it's like you're one of those people who tends to have dreams and then it happens and you're like, oh my God, I dreamt about that. That's actually a combination of like clairvoyance because you're seeing something, and claircognizance because like you have a knowing because you dreamt it. So I wish I had that. I know people who actually have dreams and then it comes true. That for me is not a gift that I have, but I know people who actually have it. So in the intuitive healing world, a lot of healers will have at least one of these, clair blank gifts. They'll have some sort of clair gift. And usually it's a combination. I know some people who have who have all of that in their toolbox. And like for myself, I would probably say I'm definitely claircognizant. I definitely sometimes just have a deep knowing and I don't even know how I know. I'm definitely clairsentient. I'm super empathic. And when I'm around people, I can definitely sense their emotions. I can sense what they're thinking about. I definitely know that that's one of my strongest ones. I'm also clairaudient, just because I do tend to hear things and I know that it's not coming from me and I hear it. And then I'm also clairvoyant. I do have visions here and there, or I'm able to see things. So, like for me, these are the gifts that I tend to have. And definitely, I didn't know right away that I was very intuitive. Like in time, my intuitive skills grew. I also, just because I knew that I was intuitive, but I wanted to be more intuitive, I have taken classes. I have taken classes to help sharpen my intuition. And for me, another way that has really helped me to tap into my intuition is through meditation. Now, I thought that everybody meditated the way that I do because when I meditate, when I get into a state, I can hear spirit talking to me and I get very clear messages, and these messages can be called downloads. And so I get very clear downloads, very clear messages when I'm meditating. And I had shared that with my boyfriend, and he's like, that never happens to me when I meditate. So that was when I was like, oh, I thought everybody kind of had this gift. But I guess not everybody, meditates that way. And not everybody gets messages that way. But, I definitely would say if you find this to be interesting, like think about these 5 different forms of intuition and think about like, what do you think? Like, where do you think you're like the most intuitive? And like I said, if you want to, there are ways to grow your intuition. There are ways to like really tap into your intuition. And so this subject for me is super fascinating. And as I move forward, I'm actually going to be bringing on different types of healers that you probably have never heard of, or healing types that you have never heard of. And we're going to explore, what is this healing? What do they do? And I'm sure, they're going to share success stories of like what they do and how it's happened, but even like their journey. How did they get there? How did they get to be a therapist or a healer in this modality? So this is one of the things I really want to share with you. And I'm not going to share with you today, but I do call myself an intuitive, and I do have different ways of like helping people to heal. I'll go through it more as we go on, but like energy healing, not just Reiki. I am Reiki certified, but it actually came to me through my intuition first, and then I got Reiki certified. I'm also an astrologer, but I'm not exactly a stereotypical astrologer. I'm an intuitive astrologer. I do use the basic rules of astrology, but then I use my intuition when I give my readings. And also with these videos, what I really want to share is, when I meditate, which is almost every day, I get a lot of downloads. And so generally, I am planning on sharing more of the information that I get in my meditations. So I hope you found this to be interesting. I hope you found it to, I hope that it kind of sparked something inside of you to be like, ooh, I want to kind of, figure out, like what are my intuitive gifts and where do I think most of you probably will know where your strengths lie. And so it's really cool. I always say for those of us who are healers or who work in the healing world, I always say, we're like superheroes. We all have like different gifts and different talents. And it's a world that is so fantastic fantastic. And I mean, it may even sound kind of like woo-woo to some of you, like some of the gifts that people have and some of the things that they can do. But I'm going to share more of this world with you. So I really hope you liked today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And if you know of anybody who would like the information, please share this video with them. And if you want to support me, like financially, or like, I have different packages on Patreon. I even have ones where I'll offer free coaching every month, or I'll answer 3 of your questions if you have some questions that you want me to answer. I have these different packages, but even if you just want to just support me and, support me financially, because right now this is how I'm trying to create a new career for myself, I would appreciate it so much. So my Patreon page is It's Tea Time, just like my YouTube, It's Tea Time. So thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, bye.